Hey guys, welcome back, and we are here with our next installment of the 2026 Miami Dolphins Rookie Film Reviews. Anthony and I have been hammering out these prospects, trying to give the most in depth reviews backed up with film studies that you're going to find on this draft class. And we already have ones out there for Caden Proctor, Chris Johnson, Jacob Rodriguez, and Caleb Douglas. So be sure to go check those out as well. But today, we are going to take a look at Will Kacmarek. Was looking back through some of the draft guides that I have, and I have Project Game Day. He wasn't even listed on there. Also had the 2026 NFL Draft Guide from Jack Brentnall, and he had him ranked at 127 overall, ninth as far as tight ends, and with a fifth round projection. And then Simon Clancy with the 2026 low red zone had him as a fourth to fifth round projection. And he ended up going in round three, number 87 overall. But when you look at what happened with the tight ends in this draft, you had Kenyon Sadiq going at number 16. And then from picks 54 to 87, you had a tight end going off the board almost every five picks. And Will Kacmarek ended up going in the third round, number 87 overall. And then after Eli Raridan at 95, you saw Matthew Hibner go at 133. And then had to go to the fifth round when there was a big run on tight ends there that ended with also Dolphin Seydou Traore. So while you might not have liked where Kasmarek was drafted being in the third round, when you take a step back and you look at how the NFL viewed tight ends in this draft, it made a lot of sense, especially for a team like Miami that had a need for a very specific type of tight end that should complement Greg Dulcich very well. Getting into the background for Kasmarek, he is a redshirt senior, has a high school background in both basketball and lacrosse in addition to football. He was a zero-star recruit in 2021 and committed to the University of Ohio, which was his only FBS offer. 2021 was a redshirt season. 2022, he appeared in 14 games for the Bobcats, recorded 20 catches for 264 yards. 2023 became a full time starter for Ohio, had 22 catches for 243 yards and two touchdowns. And as a side note, as an offensive line coach, there are some great videos from coaches' clinics out there from Ohio University, particularly for zone blocking. So I feel like that built a very good base for 2024 when Kasmirek transferred to Ohio State, started 6 games there, totaled 8 catches for 86 yards. And then last season, 2025, he started 9 games, had 15 catches for 168 yards and two touchdowns. So he had 15 starts over the past 2 seasons with Ohio State, but he was also splitting time with second round pick Max Clare. So, starts may have had to do more with the personnel that Ohio State decided to have on the field to start a game than any kind of true hierarchy there. When you look over the past 3 seasons for Kasmarek, he's got only a total of 55 targets, but he also, if my math is correct, only has one drop. So pretty dependable as far as hands. But on the flip side of that, on those 55 targets, he only forced a total of two missed tackles over those 3 years. So dependable hands, but the numbers say that he's not very good after the catch, and the film backs that up as well. But when you talk about those number of targets over the past 3 seasons, you have to consider that in addition to Max Clare, the past 2 seasons he was also teammates with Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. So while the numbers are low there, I wouldn't be too concerned with that, and I really wouldn't be surprised if his NFL production outpaces what he did in college. Looking at physical aspects, came in as far as a RAS, a relative athleticism score of a 7.94, and that was on the back of he has great size for the position at 6'5" and a half, 261 pounds. Also came in with a great explosion rating, posting a a vertical jump of 36 inches and a broad jump of 9 feet 11 inches. And then his agility grade was just okay. And that was with a 4.47 short shuttle and a 7.34 three cone. And when you look at that great explosion rating and the okay agility, I think that's definitely stuff that shows up on the film. And that's what we're going to get right into next. All right, first thing we're going to talk about is routes and receiving, and we're just going to kind of fly through these, get them out of the way because there's not a lot here. This is more of a dependable outlet type receiver, as opposed to somebody that's going to have a huge route tree, and that's what we're going to see across these videos. Right here, we're getting some zone action, just kind of leaking out to the backside here. Right now, we're getting him just dragging across the field, catch the ball, get out of bounds. Little chip, just kind of leaking out into the center of the field. Didn't go to him, but you see the type of routes that he's running. Right there, you get touchdown catch. So we're getting zone action to the right, just kind of leaks out behind the defense. That's what you're looking for out of him. Now we're getting another chip, release, easy catch, get a few yards upfield, right? Nothing special, but just dependable. Same idea here. Didn't get a block, right? But just kind of works his way down the line, makes sure everything's sealed, reverses out, and just finds a soft spot in the zone there. Another one here, kind of the same idea. Chip, get over the middle of the field, find an open spot, make a catch. Don't go crazy. This one here I included because, basically a hospital ball here, and Kacmarek takes a big hit. And while I don't have the next clip immediately available, he does bounce back right away. So tough guy. Another one here that Julian's saying, never want to throw back across your body like this, but you see Kacmarek taking another big hit later in that game and able to hang on. And then last one we're going to have here, got Kacmarek on the right side of your screen. And once again, we're going to see just over the middle, easy catch, nothing special, right? Find some open space, catch the ball, and get a couple of yards and get down. And that's basically what you're going to get out of Will Kacmarek as a receiver. Next film we're going to take a look at is Kacmarek as a pass blocker. Going to start out with a couple of negative reps first. So on the right side here, just see him not able to keep his feet. And then another one going to be somewhat similar. And yeah, he gets back into that one, but obviously very ugly early on in that rep. And then a couple of good ones here for Kacmarek. So on this one, you can see he's doing a good job against that edge defender. Able to mirror him. Nice wide hands, controlling him. Good rep there. And then another one here. This one, have a linebacker lined up out here wide coming off the edge. And Kacmarek just doing a good job of being able to, hit a target in open field, move his feet, and able to stay with that. And then you see the effort throughout the extension of that play as well. Our next set of film here is going to be Kacmarek in more of an F or an H type role. We're going to look at him as a lead blocker from the backfield. So lined up on the left side here, you can see him going through, not able to square up that block on the backside linebacker. And then another one here, going to see him coming in motion, trying to lead up through. And this is kind of on the guard, right? This is a GY counter or a GF counter. Guard is pulling through. Guard's looking to kick out this defensive end. This defensive end, Ethan Burke, plays it very well. And I think that Kacmarek thought that we'd get a kick out there, but doesn't get good contact there, can't create the opening. And Kacmarek just kind of got a little too close there, right? Would have liked to see him tempo this a little better so he's not quite all the way on the guard, to be able to see what's going on in front of him, be able to see him sift over the top of that and get to the outside linebacker. But again, right, we're really nitpicking here as to how bad that is. And then we're going to get some good reps of it as well. So over here on the right side of your screen, working through, obviously gets his knees taken out, but still love the conviction that he's going with into that block. Again, coming off the screen, settling down, now leading back across the formation, gets a nice kick out there across the formation. On this one, I like the awareness that he has, right? He's coming across and running a little bit of outside zone here. And so he's essentially comboing with this tight end up to number 7, but he can see that Akis is doing a good job here. So we can't lead directly up to number 7. So we just kind of widen that out a little bit, and that gives the running back room to get through and to score on the play. Next one here coming across, and this is kind of a wham block here, right? So we're letting this defensive end go as he's slanting to the inside here. Now, had this block been executed better, then we'd be in a lot better shape here, because Kacmarek actually gets a decent angle here. This defender is running himself out of the play, but the guard is not able to keep him, or the center, not able to keep that 2-eye to the inside, and that's what squeezes that more. But I thought Kacmarek did a good job on that. And then last one here, just another one of Kacmarek leading up through the hole, and this one has a defender blitzing off the edge there and making the play. But if you watch Kacmarek leading up through, still like the way that he got through that tight lane and was able to fit up on the linebacker. And then kind of in the same family as the lead blocks, more of the F and H type stuff. Going to take a look at some split flow action. And on this, we're going to see Kacmarek coming across, not able to really square up that defender. Now, his defender doesn't make the tackle, but would like to see Kacmarek take a better angle there, and for his defender not even to be able to get a hand on the running back in that situation. And then on to the better reps of this. We're going to see him coming across the formation, right? And it would be nice to say that you're getting pancakes out of these blocks, but if you watch the F tight ends do this across the NFL every week, just finding a tight end that, like Kacmarek is doing on these reps, is just able to make contact and not lose ground, is a win for the tight ends. Again, this is Gabe Akis here, and Kacmarek's coming across, and as he makes contact here, right, we're able to get a push from the lineman here. So if we can just hold the ground there, you can see how this is going to open up. Now they end up getting, I believe that's a safety. Yeah, safety that's able to walk up and make the play. But you can still see that when you're running this split flow action, if you can get a tight end that can just stop the progress of the defender like that one, then you can get, a good gain out of it. Didn't get a good combo from left guard, left tackle on that one. Again, coming across the formation. Didn't get a good block from the right tackle on that one. But again, we're looking at just Kacmarek here. You can see that on these split flow type actions, he's doing a good job of getting across the formation and able to anchor down and not lose ground. And that is a win for a tight end in split flow action. Next thing we're gonna look at here is what I consider just basically a seal type block. So this is not trying to drive the defensive end off the ball. Sometimes on the front side, sometimes on the back side. But the idea here is that the tight end just wants to get inside of that defender and wall him off. And if he's not able to do that, then you want to see the tight end be able to run his feet and create some vertical movement with that. So here we have Kacmarek on the backside, ends up getting the swim over the top, loses balance, so obviously not a good rep there. Here on the right side of your screen against Ethan Burke. And on this one again, right, he's stepping to the inside, trying to seal that off from the backside, but his feet kind of, I don't want to say get dead, but they're not nearly active enough to get around and get that seal. Another one here again, doesn't get across for the cutoff and doesn't run the feet and get vertical movement, so he gets beat to the inside. On this one, just kind of hesitates too long on the backside. Gotta know your opponent here and understand this backside end is not going to make the play. Got to be able to take a better angle and cut off that linebacker. Another one here, just a little too overzealous, gets too far inside, loses his balance. Might even tripped over the tackle there too. If you watch Kacmarek's left foot on there, that could have factored in as well. Another one where he steps to the inside, right? And he's okay there, but now he gets, the pads jacked up there and is not able to drive his feet. Got to be able to play a little bit lower there and run off the ball a little better and create some vertical movement on that backside cutoff. Another one here again, like not going to ask him to necessarily get across and cut this off. So this might not be the right place for this, but at the same time, need to get your head in front and need to be able to create some movement in this direction on the play. And this is a tough ask from him, but at the same time, you're going to have to ask him to do this sometimes. And he does do it effectively. We'll probably see some of those when we get to the other side. Another one here, trying to seal Ruben Bain, right? And not going to expect him to do that by himself. You can see that he's getting help from Max Clara there, but then as he works up to the next level, his balance is completely off and he's not able to get Wesley Basanth either. So in the negative reps here because he needs to be able to get onto one of those blocks. And then flipping over to the good reps here. So now you're going to see that he's able to get inside, hold his ground, and not give up that inside position. Over here against Trey Moore, also a Dolphin. Another good job holding the line there. On the right side, doesn't lose any ground there. Over here, another inside run. His defender is not able to squeeze it. Again, backside there, you can see that he's patient working up there, just kind of sets the anchor, walls him off, mirror dodge. Another one there gets to the inside of number 18 here, works his way around, able to anchor it down, doesn't give up ground. And then last one against Ruben Bain, not Bain's making this easy on him on this particular rep, but anytime that a tight end can block Ruben Bain, that belongs on the good side of those reps. All right, so all that stuff's out of the way. I'm not sure what your opinion is of Kacmarek so far, but now we're getting into the stuff that really separates him as a Y tight end. And we're going to start out here with combo blocks. And we're going to start out with a couple of negative reps here. So he's on the left side of your screen. And we're going to see him tripping as he gets up to that next level, right? He is stepping inside the Yakis, trips, not able to get to the linebacker. And then another one here. Now on this one, if you put Kacmarek in a vacuum, then he did okay working up to his second level. But at the same time, if he's supposed to help out Claire on this combo block before climbing to that linebacker, would have liked to see him do a little more there on Claire versus Akis and maybe we could have sealed both those defenders. So that's the reason that this one is in the negative reps. And then flipping over to the good reps, and there are so many examples of this. Here you can see that he is the drive man on the combo. Claire leaves it, but Kacmarek finishes that the whole way through. Now we're going to see him similar to that one from Akis before. You can see that Kacmarek's doing a better job of really getting his shoulder in there to help Max Claire get around Ethan Burke before Kacmarek climbs up here to the safety or the linebacker and is able to latch onto that block. Can't help the running back runs directly into it. Now with the right tackle on this one, I like how the tight end Kacmarek and the tackle stay on number 40 as long as they can, right? And then the tackle leaves. Kacmarek just continues to drive that edge out of the play. Another one there. Again, he's on the inside. They're just burying that defensive end. Another good job here. The back misreads this, right? As this back is cutting back here, he should really cut this out even further. That's a tough read for the back, but from Kacmarek's perspective here, right? They have number 19 up to number 0. So when number 0 slants to the inside there, right? Everybody has the leverage where they should here, and tough cutback, right? But the reads should take the back to the outside on that one. Nice job here of not getting too far into this block, right? He's getting in there, but as number 15 is getting leverage, right now Kacmarek's still in a good spot to peel off and be able to get back over to the second part of his combo block on that one. On this one here on the inside, again, getting up to that second level, finishing with a pancake. This one, I just like the awareness of Kacmarek. This one, he does get buried in there a little too far, right? It might have been aided by this edge kind of pushing him in. But you can see that Kacmarek doesn't just, give up on the next part of his accountability. He basically reverse pivots out of there and is still able to find his linebacker here, right? As he gets out, doesn't get a lot on him, but you can see that he still moves him a little bit. So I give him some credit there. Another good job here as we're working down through. This guard has to be able to keep his feet, trips a little bit, but Kacmarek's doing a good job of working up to the second level on that linebacker on this combo block. Now we're getting Kacmarek again. Now the ball goes the other way, but you can see the way that the cutback is there on this one, that Kacmarek is escorting him across that tackle, but then able to peel back, and you can see where that lane would open up if the running back decided to go his way. Same idea here, right? Blocking down, comboing with this left tackle, but not getting too far in there that he can't peel back out and get that backside linebacker. Right? From there, just need a running back to be able to beat the tackle of a safety that's walking up in the box. And then last one here. Again, the ball goes the opposite way, right? So we don't really look at this one that often, but against Akeem Mesidor here, I just like the way that Kacmarek is not leaving early. Clearly, this right tackle is not able to handle Mesidor by himself. So Kacmarek does a good job of staying as long as he can before getting to that next level. So as you can see there, a lot more good examples of combo blocks than negative ones. I think that's something that's going to carry over well for Kacmarek with the Miami Dolphins. Next one we're going to talk about here is down blocks. And we're going to go through some, kind of negative ones first. But when you look at these, they're not that bad. It's just that Kacmarek has kind of set a high bar. We're going to see those when we get to the good ones as well. But if you compare Kacmarek's, the ones that I have marked here as a negative for him and compare it to some of the other tight ends, you probably would still come away fairly pleased with what he does here. Right. And this can be tough because we're, kind of anticipating this edge coming over to the inside where you can then wash him down. This edge plays it fairly well, and Kacmarek just kind of gets stuck in no man's land. So an attempt at a down block, can't get a seal, can't get a down block, ends up in the way. Negative play for me. Backside here, doesn't get a good angle on the Mike linebacker there. Able to get through and get hands on the running back. Another one here starts out good, right? This defender does slant to the inside, but then gets a little bit of a push-pull there and gets put on the ground. Another one here. Now the ball goes the other direction in this case, more so because of what's happening with the left guard, left tackle, but didn't feel like Kacmarek did a good job of creating any movement on the down block there. Same idea there, right? Blocking down, has a good angle here, needs to be able to create some more movement, and isn't helped by number 70 coming back to the front side there, but Kacmarek himself is not able to keep his defensive end to the inside like he should be on a down block. Another one here, right? Kacmarek's coming in motion. Down block on Will Kacmarek, right? Another good player, but need to be able to see Kacmarek step down and create some movement there. Ends up in the backfield. Not an ideal scenario. Another one there, giving up too much penetration. And this is what I'm talking about, that a lot of tight ends, this would not be considered a bad block, right? But for Kacmarek, it's creating traffic for the number 77 there, the right tackle, as well as Max Clare to work through, right? It still ends up being a good play, but the bar is high for Kacmarek when we talk about this, and you'll see it when we get to the good ones. Another one here, another one that could be considered a good rep in a lot of cases, but I'd prefer to see Kacmarek, as he's climbing to this second level, be able to work vertical and create that seal right there and not let the defender go over top. And then last one here, just another one where he gets a little overzealous. I think that's Will Kacmarek again, and gets a little too far to the inside, right? Tries to get that left arm out there and torque him to the inside. Doesn't work. Just need to have a little better angle on that down block. And now we're going to get to the good ones. And even with that handful of bad ones, this is going to get very repetitive because you're going to see just how often he is really good at these down blocks. This one, just letting that defender work himself over the top and then just creating movement at the point of attack. Working up to the second level, there you can see how he does a good job of engulfing that linebacker, sealing him to the inside, letting that running back get through. I don't know if you saw it there, right? Love how he's getting into a 4-point stance here to get set up. Like, that he is running off the ball. You can see the defensive background show up there for him. Anyways, you can see again, Ethan Burke, good defensive end here, creating movement, getting to that next level. This one, all the way up here on the top of the screen, he is going to down block and run this defender clear through the back of the end zone. Love to see it. Other angle here, this is actually going to be Trey Moore, also a Dolphin. Again, down here, good job, get to that next level. So on that one, doesn't necessarily get a clean block, right? But if this defender is going to beat him, right, want to see him go that direction and chase the running back's backside, right? And you can see when you do that, he's got to now run through that traffic as opposed to when the defender was able to fight over the top earlier, and we get a gain out of that. Another one here, just creating good first level movement before climbing off to that backside linebacker. Same idea here, creating movement, climbing to the next level. Now this is going to be a reverse, and I maybe should have gone to the seal blocks, but had another down block because he's pinning that defender to the inside. That's Gabe Akis on the outside there, I think. Maybe not. Doesn't matter. Does a good job of pinning him and then working upfield. Next one again. Good job of feeling that the whole way through. Once that first level secured, now he's climbing up to the second level, getting to that linebacker. Now we're 10 yards downfield before that tackle. Here, being patient, right? Nothing directly inside of him, so no reason to be too aggressive working to the inside. Lets it come to him, and then just torques it and opens up that lane even more. Another one just driving all the way into the end zone. Another one there where he's stepping to the inside. Nothing is there for him immediately, so he just, fills that area and then gets vertical, latches onto that second level, opens things up. Same exact idea. Now we get that first level block. That one, you can see he's doing a good job, right? This is a pretty good sized defensive end. Kacmarek's making contact a couple yards outside of the hash marks, able to drive him the whole way in there. Nice drive block on the down block there. Another one there, helping as long as he can with that right tackle before climbing to that backside linebacker, getting another seal. Again, just good understanding here, right? Looking at the alignments here, there's nothing there immediately, so he's just patient, seeing what's happening, sees number 21 coming over the top, able to seal that off. Running back makes a bad read, gets a couple yards out of it anyways. Another good job here of working down to the inside. Probably oversells a little more than you want, but good job of working vertical. And you can see that his second effort on there is what helps pop that running back through the first level of the defense. Again, nice and patient. Let the linebacker basically make himself wrong, and then just work up to seal it. Same idea, right? He's working down towards Ruben Bain, but he's still not, getting crazy with it. Even though Bain is obviously a really good defender, but as Bain is working to the inside, no need for Kacmarek to stay in there. Now he can just get the feet back a little bit, get vertical, seal the linebacker. Now this goes to the inside, but you can still see that what should happen here, I'm not even sure why he's working to the outside. Everything should be working to the backside here, but Kacmarek's doing a good job on Mesidor. Right, what we should have had was everybody's working down. This tackle should have been working to the linebacker here, and then we have this puller is kicking out there, and then he should be looping around off of Kacmarek's butt and getting up to number one. The right tackle messes this all up. Still gets a few yards, but good rep from Kacmarek. Another one there, right? Down block. Nothing is there to the inside immediately, right? So no reason to be in a hurry to get there. Just kind of lets Keontae Scott go to the inside and then just escort him several yards further. Another reverse, but does a good job there, just kind of fitting up on Ruben Bain. And then last one we're going to have here, another one where he does a good job of being patient. Bain motions out, so now there's no need to commit fully down there, step down, see what's coming, right? As that defender crosses over the top there, just let him go and wash him down the rest of the way. And lastly, we are going to wrap up the film review portion of this video looking at one of the things that makes me pretty excited about Kacmarek with the Dolphins, and that's going to be his ability on the front side of outside zone. I do have one, I have it classified as a negative, but the more that I watch it, the more it probably shouldn't be here. So, working up to the second level here, he's comboing with number 70 up to the linebacker, but you can see um, he gets knocked back there. Obviously, not what you want to see, but when we watch it here and then slow it down again, right, as he's stepping up, watch the left foot of this defender is going to step back on Kacmarek's foot. I'm sure that impacted him to an extent. So, like I said, not sure how negative this really is, even though I have it classified there. Now, as we finish up with the good reps on the front side of outside zone, one of the things I want you to keep in mind is that in this, well, wide zone, outside zone, whatever you want to classify it as, it is up to the running back to make the offensive line and the blockers right. So, from a blocking perspective, you kind of want to let the defense go where they are, where the defense is forcing their leverage to. You just don't want to let them cross back over. So, keep that in mind as we're watching Kacmarek on these, right? So like on this one, he doesn't start out in great position, right? Kind of a two-way go, but he knows he has this help coming from Claire on the other side. So as he fits up there, Claire gives a little shot there, and Kacmarek takes his defender further to the outside. Play obviously gets stopped in the backfield, but this wasn't because of Kacmarek and Claire. Next one here, does a good job, right? Mason Reiger, UDFA for the Dolphins, doing a good job playing this, working to the outside. But you can see how Kacmarek's doing a good job helping to seal that as much as he can before moving up to that next level. Now, because of how aggressively Reiger's playing that, the running back's able to cut that to the inside. But you can see how the lane is also opening to the outside because of what Kacmarek's doing. Finishes with a pancake. Always love that. Again, now this time he ends up taking Reiger because Kacmarek and left tackle have Reiger up to this front side linebacker. And really 51, this combo here should have been working to the backside linebacker. You'll see the backside linebacker come free, right? But as we get to this position, right now we're getting movement. This left tackle should just kind of, leak off, spill back here, right? And now we have the entire outside sealed, and now we're making cornerbacks make tackles, which is what you want to do in these outside zone schemes. This one, good job of stepping out on Kamara. Kamara slants to the inside, and that can make this very difficult, but thought that, even though it's not a great block, I thought that Kacmarek did a good job of at least creating a little bit of traffic there for Kamara and also doing a good job of understanding when to let go, not to get the hold. And you can see that it still results in a positive gain there. Another one here working the combo block with the other tight end. They've got number 21 up to number 12 as number 12 scraping over the top there and 21's working that leverage to the outside. You can see that Kacmarek does a good job. Just stay to the inside, widen it out, give the running back a lane. On the right side of your screen here, oops, let's get back to that one. Get a bit of an audible here, right? And again, on this one, this edge player wants to work to the outside. It'd be a tough ask to ask Kacmarek to get all the way outside here on a wide zone. So he's going to fire out. right? Good opening steps here. Opens up, sets his track. That edge wants to stay to the outside. Okay, we'll just widen him out a little bit and make a lane there. We also get a good job from the left tackle there. The guard does not stay on number 21, but this could have been a pretty big play based on tight end and left tackle blocks. Right side of your screen again. Now on this one, Kacmarek doesn't block anybody, right? So you might ask, why does it belong here? But what I liked on this rep is that Kacmarek stays as long as he can on Ruben Bain, right? Maybe could have given a little more, but this tackle's really got to get his head around and run. As he's working the next level, understands that we got the crack coming to the inside, continue working, right? And now we're creating the seal right there where if this left tackle just could have gotten his head across Ruben Bain, right? And this running back could have stayed a little flatter, right? Now we're developing a huge hole there, but Bain makes a great play and stops that one for a loss. Another one here working to the outside, right? Working out to Keontae Scott. Scott wants to go to the outside. That's fine. We'll just widen him out even further, get a good gain out of it. Another one here facing Bain. You can see that they do a little bit better job here, right? Kacmarek gives a little more there. Left tackle gets fitted in there a little more. Kacmarek gets to the next level. If we get a block on number 1 here coming across the back side of it, right, we kind of get guard. Looks like he was basically caught off guard with that late shift, knocked off balance. He's not able to get up to number 1. But if you get him up to number 1, then again, this block that Kacmarek helps with Bain up to number 10, right? We get the running back through that little lane there, and we get a huge gain out of it. Same idea here, right? The blocking seems to be all over the place here, right? The left tackle seems to be going in the opposite direction of everybody else. So I think he kind of left Kacmarek on his own, but Kacmarek does a good job of attaching to Bain. Bain wants to take it to the outside. That's fine. Let him go. Widen him out. And then last rep we have here, another one again. Just being nice and patient. Not necessarily getting out there and running. He knows he's got the size advantage as he works his way out. Just let Keontae Scott take himself out of the play. Now we just widen it out and create a nice lane for a big run there. All right, so I hope that helped give you a good idea of what we are getting in new Dolphins tight end, Will Kacmarek. Not going to offer a lot in the passing game, but I do think that he can be an effective outlet type receiver. You can use him in the move, the F type role, but I don't think that's where his real strength is. I think that where you're really going to find the value of Kacmarek is in that true Y tight end type role, using him on down blocks, combo blocks, that front side of outside zone stuff. I think that he is better than any tight end that we've had here over the last several years, right? Talking about Durham Smythe, Julian Hill, all of those guys. I think that he should be an instant upgrade over all of them and probably as good, if not better, in the receiving game. So going back to the top, right, 3rd round pick may have felt high based off of consensus boards, but when you look at what he is going to contribute in the running game and what he can still give you as a 3rd, 4th, 5th option in the passing game, I think you're going to get enough out of him that in a couple of years we're going to be talking about Kacmarek as a great value as a 3rd round pick blocking tight end, probably looking at a 2nd contract with the Miami Dolphins. Appreciate you guys watching. We are almost halfway through these prospects with these film reviews. Keep tuning into the Focused on Fins channel. We're trying to post, 1 to 2 of them every week, and we are going to make it through this entire draft class. Appreciate you guys watching. Leave a comment below, and we will talk again soon.